All right, good evening, folks. Welcome to the meeting of the Rutland Town Select Board for Wednesday, July 5th. We're at 6 o'clock. We're in the town hall. Select Board members, Kurt Hathaway and Sharon Russell, are with me, Mary Ashcroft, in the room. Matt Getty is zooming in, and I think Joey DiNardo is calling in. So we've got a full slate just in various places tonight. Okay, please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all. Okay. In your packet, select board minutes for June 20th. Is there a motion concerning those minutes?
Move to approve.
Second.
Kurt moves to approve, seconded by Sharon. Any additions, deletions, corrections? If not, all in favor of adopting the minutes as printed, please say aye.
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 Okay, anyone opposed? All right, coming around for signature. Sharon? All right. Any announcements from board members at this point? Doesn't look it. Okay. Just select board chair briefly. You will notice perhaps that we had no fireworks on July 2nd. If you wish to blame someone, that would be me. The weather forecast, we made the call fairly early in the day because the weather forecast was for continuing rain. Naturally, it stopped. With the concurrence, now remember we had a backup rain date with the vendor North Star Fireworks. That was for this coming Sunday, which is no particular day. And the weather forecast isn't looking terribly promising for Sunday either. So we've asked North Star if they are available to do fireworks for our townwide celebration on August 19th, and the answer was they would be very happy. So is there any problem with shifting to that date for members, select board members? Nope.
I think, Mary, I think that we should do them on that date on a regular basis. That a lot of times there's so much going on around 4th of July, people have to choose. So if we did ours during the townwide celebration, it'd be easier on North Star because they wouldn't be going 20 different directions, and you never know, they might give us a little better buy.
All right. Well, let's try it for this year's townwide celebration, see how it goes, see what the response is. And I think that's a good suggestion going forward. Okay. Takes care of that. At this point in our meeting, we do take questions or comments from the floor for people who are not otherwise on the agenda. So do we have any folks who would like to address us or question us or answer, whatever?
Well, they're smiling, but I don't know what.
I don't know. No? Okay. I'm looking directly at you because here's your chance.
Usually here.
Okay. All right, so we're a couple of things that we're going to be doing toward the end of the meeting. We're going to be talking to our town attorney, both on a contract for the public safety building and on other developments. So we'll be in executive session for that. We're going to try and get through other things before then. Hopefully wrap up our agenda before then. Kevin's out in Utah, so it's 2 hours earlier for him. So, okay. John Paul Faignant, Town Health Officer, Public Safety Building Clerk, and Second Constable. No, we do have, I should mention, and this is, let's do action needed item A, This is the MS4 Community Grant Intent to Participate letter. And we have Andres from our consulting firm who's been working on our stormwater issues, came in with this great discovery of a grant that we could apply for $200,000. And there's no match. So we had a couple of questions for him, and there's a letter of intent to, it's not the grant agreement itself. We don't know the exact terms yet, but it's basically saying we agree to participate in this grant program. So we're going to ask Andres to explain why we should sign this and get $200,000 free.
Right. So can you all hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Great. Good evening, everybody. Just to clarify one thing. So there is there's what they call a leverage requirement. So the leverage is can be, it's 50% leverage. This is one thing that I learned after kind of digging into the details of this. It can basically be in kind work that can be justified as kind of towards this project, but there is no obligation to spend that whole $200,000. So, basically we can put it towards any of the ongoing stormwater MS4 projects, and there's a bunch of different things going on. But it's really specifically for design and permitting. So one of your questions, Mary, last time was, could we put it towards the illicit discharge study? Unfortunately not. It's more geared towards doing projects to comply with the phosphorus control plan and the MS4. So it's really going to be specifically for things like taking the next step on designing projects like, Windmere, or there's some other ongoing design projects like Nancy Lane that are kind of going to be advancing as part of the town's permit requirements that, that money can be used to help fund those projects. And really we just need to demonstrate that there's leverage, but there is no obligation to spend it all, or to spend it all in 1 year. So I believe the agreement's going to be written for 2 years. And so basically you can kind of spend as much as you need during that period of time. So I don't really honestly see any downside to doing it. I think it would just be, this work needs to be done regardless. So I just feel like it'd be a good opportunity for the town to go forward with.
Okay. Questions? Kurt?
Nope.
Sharon? Matt?
Pretty straightforward.
Oh, yep.
Matt Getty? Questions?
No.
Oh, did you just say no? Yeah, I think you did. Joe, questions?
Nope. I'm all set.
Okay. So this is I have in front of me a 1-page intent to participate signature page. And this basically says initial award offer is $200,000 to the town of Rutland. And we agree to participate in this grant program. There's only one signature line. So is there a motion with regard to this grant?
Yeah, I move that Mary Ashcroft signs the grant.
On behalf of the town, I hope.
On behalf of the town.
Motion's made. Is there a seconded?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Matt's an aye. Joey's an aye. Okay, it's unanimous, and I just signed it. So thank you, and thank you, Andres, very much.
Okay, great. Yeah, no problem. That sounds good. I'll get that over to the folks at DEC, and then we'll eventually see, more of a formal agreement, and then I'll talk to, coordinate with Bill on that and see what it looks like, and then we can meet again at another meeting to get that executed if needed.
Okay, very good. Thanks again.
Okay, great.
Minutes,
take care, guys.
Sharon, please sign them.
Yes, somewhere here.
Do you have them, Kurt? Minutes?
Didn't I bring it to you? Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, hand them back.
Oh, here they are. Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda, Barbara Noyes Pulling, Town Planning Commission Chair. Good evening.
Good evening. Okay, what should we talk about?
The birds and the bees.
There were some
Really?
grant, the energy thing that came through. I did see there was an email today from the Regional Planning Commission.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
for the audits.
Okay.
And you have just one building or two buildings. Okay. So one application should do it for both
Okay.
buildings. The deadline's the end of October
Okay.
to get that in.
Okay.
And that's freebie bibby.
Okay. So we have a bit of time.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
A little bit of time. Yeah. And then there's the solar project.
Solar project and a wind project. I don't know if you got
Oh.
the notice of that. So the solar project, why don't you, this is called the Post Road
Yeah. I mean,
Solar Project.
those developers, they every time they start a new project, they have a new name. So, I mean, this company is based in Manchester, but I think higher up, it's in Delaware and Massachusetts and Pennsylvania. But it's a large project. It's on Thomas Dairy land between Moore and Kari auto places. So it is used for ag right now, but it's definitely in a commercial type area. It's not one of the preferred sites in the town's energy plan, but it's not in a scenic viewshed. Maybe you could talk to the developer about getting, since it's not a preferred site, into maybe some extra remuneration for the town for putting a solar site in there. It's large. If you compare it to the one in North Clarendon by the airport, it's that size plus half of that on top of that. So that's about a 2 megawatt. This is a 3 megawatt.
Okay. The Cold River Road projects, how large were they? Are they?
Oh, I don't know offhand, but I'm not even sure they reached 1 megawatt.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
I think the one across from Hubbard's is pretty sizable, but I think this
Yeah,
one might be a little bigger.
Okay.
Yeah, those newer ones.
The new
They're
ones
big,
there.
yeah.
But I think this is even a little bigger than that.
Yeah. And so, it's on, there's prime ag soil there. But they're dividing the panels up to, one set will front Route 7 going north. And they want to take down all the trees that are there, but I think they're going to have to get permission from historic preservation about some of that. And then they're leaving the middle open, and way over on the east side of the parcel, they're going to put another half of the panels. It's a good location in the sense that, it's right next to the GMP substation. And, there's 3-phase going right up Route 7. So, yeah, that's just looking at it quickly. The Planning Commission is going to talk to the developer, Thomas Hann, but that's a couple weeks from now.
Oh, of Hand Motors. Long time ago, related to the, okay.
I'd have to ask.
Okay. Sorry, I was taking a sip of my milkshake. So in the past, we have had the Planning Commission take a look, and you've made some recommendations to the Select Board. And so you're going to do that again?
Yeah. They say they are going to put the full application in. This is just the preliminary one, the 45-day notice. But I think they were talking about the end of August, hopefully, to get the full one in. So we don't have a whole lot of time
Okay.
to respond, unless we want to intervene when it gets formalized.
So this was in your packet, folks. What, if anything, do we give for direction or guidance to our Planning Commissioner, or do we do anything with this? You'll remember that we went through the process of adding an energy plan component to our town plan so that we qualified as a municipality with enhanced status to be heard at Public Service Board considerations of just such solar arrays. We were concerned about us being a target community because we're right outside of Rutland City. So we have things in place so that we can participate. And I didn't realize it was right on the road, which is a little bit concerning. So
yeah, they have just the minimum setback.
Yeah,
it's 100 feet, but that's required 100 feet.
Yeah.
So,
you know, I don't have a problem with the back array, but that front array on the Route 7 side, I'd rather see that land get used for something that would generate more taxes than just solar. I mean, it was Body Shop was trying to go in there. How many?
Oh yeah,
that 5-6 years ago.
Yeah,
The water.
So that's where I stand on it.
Okay, Joe.
I'm not a huge solar fan in general.
Well, as you know, we have tried here at the farm for a number of years to do solar, so I will not begrudge anybody that wants to do this. I'm a firm believer that folks have a right to use their land, and I don't agree with certain parts of the town plan, and I've made that note. So I don't have a problem. Maybe not to Kurt's point, right on Route 7. Yeah, we could get, that it would be more beneficial in the tax dollars, but we have to kind of step up here and either run a water line out there, because that was the issue the last time. So if we're not willing to do something to encourage commercial growth, then I think the owner's got a right to do with it. And as far as Barbara's remarks about the prime ag land, that train has already left the station, because if you drive up Route 7 a mile and a half at the Thomas Farm, there are solar panels in what was prime ag land. There was a cornfield and a pasture that are now solar panels. So I don't even want to hear that argument, because it doesn't apply. That's if we didn't apply it then, don't bother trying to apply it now. That's their land, and I'm a firm believer in the landowner's right to do what they need to do to generate an income and keep what they have. And that's me. Thanks.
One of the other things that the town did move forward on, I know you mentioned the water line, but one of the reasons the collision repair place didn't go in there was because of a requirement that a sidewalk be extended. We are pursuing a sidewalk extension. On the other side, we've applied for grants. We got a grant to do the design. We haven't got a grant to build it yet. But just a reminder, we have moved toward getting this area developed. So it isn't that the town hasn't done anything, because we have.
Yeah, and I didn't mean it that way, Mary, that we haven't done anything. I'm just saying that, if we want to pursue the commercial development, because I don't see this as sprawl. It fits in with what's there with Velco, Green Mountain Power, the other various businesses right in that area that are adjacent to us in the city. So, but I just think that, we have taken a good step with the sidewalk. The sidewalk, as you know, my opinion on that made less sense than the water line for the body shop. But, there's not a lot of foot traffic usually from a body shop to go somewhere. It's not like we're in an area where you could bring your car to get it worked on and walk someplace to do something. So, but at least we're moving in the right direction there.
We are. Okay. Sharon, your thoughts?
Well, I happen to agree with Kurt. I think we need to take a good look at. I'd like to do a site visit. I know where everything is, but I would like to do a site visit. So I move to table it till we do a site visit.
Nothing to table.
You can table.
I know I can.
Well, you can, if somebody agrees with you. But we haven't yet heard from Matt. And we need to maybe give some instruction to the Planning Commission.
Yep.
So if we table it, that sort of ends discussion. Do you want to do that right now? Or maybe.
Well, I don't want to jump the gun and do something that we're not ready for.
We're not obligated to do anything tonight.
Yeah.
Right.
We have a little.
that.
Okay. So let's hear from Matt and then we'll come back to your motion to table and see if there's a second to it.
Okay.
Okay. Matt.
Yeah, I don't have a strong opinion on this one way or the other. It sounds awfully large for the location, but if it fits and that's what they want to do, I don't really have a strong opinion about what goes in there for development.
Okay. An observation at some point when we did our energy component to the town plan, there were two levels of scrutiny. One was, fairly, yes, we want the solar panels, but once we hit our share of renewable energy development in town, then we had a higher level of scrutiny for projects coming in after that. You remember that?
Yes.
Are we
but
there
it's
yet?
not a permanent deal. Every 5 years, a new comprehensive energy plan comes out with the state. And so they've got new targets. And so there's going to be another whole round of new targets given to every municipality in the state so that the state can show it's getting 90% renewable by 2050. So, yeah, we were close at the time, but I'm not quite sure how the numbers are going to shake out.
So you'll run those calculations for us too?
When we get them from the state, yeah.
Okay, all right. So Sharon has proposed we table this and we can take it up.
I think it's premature.
Okay, Joe?
Well, I think we're tabling something that we've only got a rough idea. I think our planning commission should meet with these folks, see what they propose and what they're doing, take a look at it. And to Sharon's point, we go out there and meet with them at some point. We're going to have to go into a cornfield if we go this summer because there's corn there now. But we should do that and see what it is before we're going to put a roadblock up in their path. Let's at least give them the chance to propose their project and see what's there. And then I have another question, and this is, and I don't particularly need an answer tonight, but there appears to be a nationwide trend and a statewide trend to move from fossil fuels to electricity to do everything with. And I have a question as to exactly where the folks that are pushing this assume the electricity is going to come from. Because right now, and I have folks that I've talked to that are in the electric business that build power plants and they work on transmission lines, and the infrastructure for what is proposed is not there. So my question is, if we're going to keep finding reasons to shut down renewable energy, and solar is one of the cleaner, better ways to do this, I need an answer as to where this electricity is coming from, because everybody's pushing everything from electric cars to electric stoves to electric, but nobody's telling me how we're going to make it. And that doesn't need to be answered here. I don't expect anybody to have that answer, but it's food for thought out there as we move forward. Is we need to be cognizant of how are we going to do what we're putting before us as goals. Thanks.
All right. More instruction or questions? Maybe the Planning Commission can give us some guidance.
We meet on the 13th with Thomas Hann.
Okay.
A couple weeks away.
Okay. So you already have a meeting set up with him.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
And if you could suggest the site visit, and maybe we could all, if we can fit it into our schedule, go up and take a look. Sharon has made a motion to table. There hasn't been a second. There's been some opposition. What's your pleasure? If there is no second, the motion dies at this point.
I guess we got to keep talking about it for now.
Okay.
Get all this figured out.
Okay. So your motion dies for a second, but I think we're going to be talking within the Planning Commission.
That's what you said. My concern is this, because Joey is saying, renewable energy, blah, blah, blah. And in all respect to Joey, But I had, my former house was what they called a golden medallion house, which meant it was all electric. Then they decided that the grid couldn't take that with any of these places. So then they shut that off. So now we're back to electric again. And it doesn't make sense, folks. I mean, make up your mind. If the grid can't handle it, then what do we do? I think we need more study on this whole thing. That's my take.
My biggest concern with solar is what happens to the panels once they need to be decommissioned, and whether these array companies are putting money aside to decommission these and properly recycle them, or if they're just going to file bankruptcy and walk away from these things and
well, that's a good point.
Stick us all with them, you know.
When they get a state approval, they have to sign that they will decommission, and that they put up a bond as well.
Okay, Joe, did you hear that?
Yeah, I know we were, when we were looking at doing something on the landfill, remember a number of years ago, the folks we were talking with then, they explained all that to us, that they have to have a decommissioning process and plan and funds available before they are granted the right to build the array. So that end of it is there. And there's always a concern as to what the panels are made out of. I don't know that part, you know, none of us are chemists, so we don't know what these are, but those are questions that are pertinent questions that you have to ask as we go forward with any of these sites. I just don't remember this much conversation regarding the other solar panel on Route 7 3 or 4 years ago. That just seemed to come before the board and the planning commission, and next thing I knew, they were out there pounding metal posts in the ground. So I think that we're not consistent in what we're doing here, but I think we just need to hear from them and then encourage questions. Let's ask these folks these questions and let's hear all the answering. And then that's our job, is to decide if we like the answers and we're comfortable with them, then you move. And if you're not, then you would plan to try to block the process. And it gets probably a little ugly because we already tried to block one process, and the Supreme Court in the state of Vermont told us we couldn't change the rules in the middle of the game.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. Remember, we did participate quite a bit on the Cold River Road project. So
we did. Yeah.
Yeah. Barbara?
Yeah. So this is early in the process. It's good to talk to developers.
Yeah.
And, you know, really understand what they want and to make some requests from the town's perspective. And I'll reiterate, a lot of towns ask for extra money. They do. That's part of the deal.
I think we did. It was sort of a pilot. It was sort of a payment in lieu of taxes to make up for the difference between what we would get on tax revenue if the land were not put into solar, and what it actually would generate, which is fairly minimal for us. Because I think the state takes the taxes on
the education part,
on the solar arrays. So we did ask for, and we did receive some additional payment in lieu of taxes from one of the Cold River Road developers. So just so.
And the first Thomas one was on a fast track. There was this process where you could become a preferred site,
right,
if the town signed off on it. And that was, I think it was before we had our plan done, or just as we were finishing it. But it was a slightly different process. It was sped up, and a different developer. And that one went through it did go through pretty quickly.
Okay. All right.
Joe's right.
So I think that's it, unless there are more comments. Barbara is going to go back to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission is meeting with the developer. We're going to try and set up a site visit with the developer. So presumably any select board member interested, and I would guess any Planning Commission member interested, could meet up there and walk the site, so we'll know what we're looking at. And we're fairly early in the process, so we can put this on the agenda for our next select board meeting and see where we are and if we want to participate and what we want to say if we do. Okay.
And what was the wind project?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so also in your packet is a proposal to put 2 wind turbines, 100-foot high, on tubular towers, 100-foot high, off Quarterline Road. It is on property of Preston Billings. Full disclosure, that's my brother-in-law, and this was all part of the Billings land at one time. And I'm an adjoining property owner, so I received notice of this. But the town has apparently received now the official notice that this is moving forward, and you have the information in your packet. I probably, given my, fact that we're all Billingses down there, should not be participating, but what is the pleasure of the select board at this point? Do we ask the planning commission to take a look at this as well?
Will they be required? Do they need an Act 250 permit?
Section 248. Is it what did the town get? The 45-day notice?
Yes. I believe that was.
So Joe, it's section 248 through the Public Utility Commission.
Okay. So do we get during that process, will we get to participate in what they're doing?
It should be the same as what we just did for the solar project.
Okay. Again, I think we got to take the same approach. We have to see what it is. I don't want to be, saying the same thing, but it's a landowner's right. And if they're not being, I read most of this and they're sited pretty well away from most of the other properties and everything around there. And other than the fact you're probably going to see them, I didn't see a whole lot of issue, but I guess we'll have to look at that site and whatever, be involved and go from there. I hate to put the kibosh to anybody's, what they want to do. Since we have no wind turbines in town, are they taxed different than solar? Is there a different thing because they don't take up, several acres? I think they allocate maybe a half acre or an acre per tower. So does anybody know what the taxing and how that's handled? Because we've never been there before.
You're right. We've never been there, and I'm not really sure. I would guess, and it's only a guess, that it's similar to solar panels because it's all under the jurisdiction of the Public Service Commission. But I don't know. Just notice at the top of the packet, there is a deadline for filing public comments, notice of intervention, motion to intervene, and request for hearing. And that deadline is July 19th. So it's the day after our next select board meeting.
When did this come in?
Would it be a good idea to have our planning commission just maybe see if they could look in to find out the answers to some of those questions as far as the taxing and stuff? And then I guess we've got 24 hours to respond negatively or positively or whatever we need to do.
The tight deadline, but yes, is the planning commission willing to take a look and give us some guidance on this as well? We've not had a wind turbine, and these are two.
Right. Yeah. I don't have any of the materials.
Okay.
Through the planning commission. I'm not sure the regional commission. There is a sticking point with the regional commission. It has said that there will not be wind turbines on slopes in Rutland County. So I'm not sure where, I don't know anything about this project and where it was lie in that continuum. So, that's
why don't I give you this, because I have I have a set at home because I got one as an adjoining property owner, although I'm way down the hill from it. So,
Is it windy up there?
I don't think so. I don't know.
I mean, wind's a lot more efficient than solar if there is wind.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's blowing.
Well, I mean, I think that
Right
contains some of their studies. So
right on the top of Boardman Hill, right
yeah,
there. I assume
and
that
it's
must
a
capture something.
flat. They said it was relatively. It's downsloping from where the site is. It's downsloping in all directions. So they've obviously put it right at the top.
Yeah.
Okay. So
North of the tower.
homework for the Planning Commission, and thank you. So, and Bill, this should go on our agenda for next meeting, whether we do anything and about whether the town should take a position or file a comment or anything. At the least, we might want to look into the tax question that Joe raised and see if there's a payment in lieu of, as we've done with solar. Okay. Anything else, Joe? From no Planning Commission. Or Matt, anything else on either of these two energy things?
Nope.
Nope, doesn't look it. Any questions of Barbara or the Planning Commission? I can just see you going in there with that.
Barbara, if you have your letter, I don't know if you want to address that or not.
Okay, it looks like we can.
Yeah, there's other topics to talk about, I guess.
Well, given the short notice on the wind turbine ones, I think that's probably got a bump to the top of the list for now.
Okay.
Okay. All right, I think that's it.
Okay.
I know short-term rental ordinance. Do we want to do anything with that tonight or let Barbara and the Planning Commission digest? I think short-term rental is, we don't have any deadline on that.
Right.
So we can put it off for another meeting.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Good plan.
It's baking out in the sun
Okay.
today. I don't need it.
All right. Thank you, Barbara. Okay. Mike Rowe, Town Rec Director.
Excellent, Grace.
I didn't do anything.
You kicked Dave.
Well, I don't know if I told you I fertilized last time. I don't know if I did. Well, that was a silly mistake because now it's really growing. And so the good news is I mowed I mowed the backfield for the whole backfield for the first time, and it looks pretty good.
Good.
So it's coming in nicely, but we will, when we have our meeting probably in a couple of weeks, we'll discuss our long range plan to keep it green for a little while anyway. So that's good. The disc golf on our back nine is starting to take shape. We're looking to now get a work day with the disc golf people to finish up. We had, and a shout out to McCullough Brothers who have the machine that's pretty cool. If you ever want something to disappear in your yard, whether, no, I shouldn't say, that's organic. Trees, shrubs, call them up. It's not cheap, but it will disappear, as Sharon can attest to. And
I don't think their price was that bad for all that they did.
No, and so anyway, yes, it wasn't that bad. Which I will use the timber fund that we have for that, which I've saved that for projects in the park.
I think we did sort of. Yes, I think we did.
Well, I do have a timber fund for that, so I'll spend that. If you haven't noticed, but when you would stand at the pool and look where they hold the fireworks, where everybody sits, well, now after Saturday, we'll be able to double the seating because they took everything. If you're standing at the pool that comes down squares, took everything to the right except for a little bit because we ran out of time, but they're going to come back in and finish that.
It was sumac, wasn't it?
Yes, and a bunch of other, I don't even know. You
It
couldn't
was
walk through it.
ugly.
You couldn't navigate through it, but it
No.
doesn't matter because it doesn't exist
It was
anymore.
ugly.
And I'm going to throw a little seed down there after they clean up a little bit, and I'll be mowing it probably by the end of the year. I mean, literally take it down to nothing. So it's pretty cool. I've been looking for something like that for a while. So big shout out to the McCulloughs. They did an awesome job. New signs for the walking trails. If you noticed, we had an issue. Some people destroyed our Boy Scout project signs that were made from slate that came from this building. And so what I did is I took pictures of, I had a few remaining signs. So I took pictures of those, sent them to Awesome Graphics, and they came up with now a metal-ish sign with, it looks the same.
Cool.
Except I added a little color around the white to make it pop a little bit. So those will be coming in the next weekend, then I will put those up, and hopefully they won't get destroyed as easily as the slate. So those will be coming up too. So look for those of you walking through the trails. Speaking of trails, if people have, like, I go through it every now and then, it's not a top priority unless somebody calls me and says there's a tree down or something, because normally it just takes care of itself. But if you're noticing that it's starting to overgrow a little bit, let me know, and I will go in and knock back the blackberries and raspberries and all the fun stuff. So just let me know and I'll go knock it down. There's certain parts that I haven't got to yet. And speaking of that, I met with the Velomont people last week, which is they're about bike trails in Vermont. We met with the mayor of the city. We met at the water treatment plant. We met with the water treatment people because they're a key cog in the trail where we want it to go, or where the people want it to go. It was a very productive meeting, very positive. So we're hoping they'll talk to a landowner or two, and then we should be a nice exit for that when that develops.
And where do they start? Aren't they up in Killington?
Well, they're all over, it's all over Vermont. I mean, ideally, they'd like you to start up at Killington for one trail, and they're using national park or national forest land trails. So they've got quite a thing, and they want to go down through us, and then into the city, and then over to West Rutland, and then from West Rutland to Castleton. Then they got rails and trail at Castleton. So they want to make it, this part of the state a nice link. So we're slowly getting there, and it was just a very positive meeting with everybody at the people that run the water treatment plant and the mayor. So that was very positive. That was last week. As far as fireworks for townwide celebration, I said it many years ago that's when we should do it. I'm glad we're getting a chance to do that. From my perspective, I've been up there for 20 years doing fireworks, and each year the percentage of in-state cars is less and less and less and less, because they all come right past me. If I'm standing right there, and it's easily up to 75% of non-state licensed cars. So I know it's a town thing. I know it's for anybody, but I think having it on our celebration is a nice fit for it. And I'm glad we're getting the chance to see what the feedback is from that too. So I wasn't disappointed, because it just seems that it's more and more for everyone else, but not. I know people have certain spots in the town you can see it. I don't know if you can see it from your house, but I'm anxious to see what it'll look like. Okay. Two more things. First sessions of lessons went very well for swimming, and we just started signups again for our next session, which starts on Monday, the 10th.
Wait, that went by fast.
Let's not talk about this. Yes, it's going by fast. That's okay. Next, we are going to do a couple dive-in movies. We're just waiting for Mother Nature to see if she's going to be a little bit more cooperative at night. For those that don't know, you can go swim in the pool and watch the movie from the pool if you want. Pretty cool. Other than that, I don't have anything, unless some people have something for me.
Nope.
Okay, the seniors.
Their lunch is the 20. I was just looking at when I was sitting there.
Yeah.
The 25th at 11 o'clock at the pool. And Hathaway Burgers will be the staple, as usual, for a meat source. We've already discussed it with Byron. He will cook. We're all good to go with that.
Never.
So from that part, we're good.
Excellent. Okay.
What's the time?
The time is 11. They usually start getting 11. We go around 11:30. is when they kind of start to eat.
And not only are the seniors there, but we encourage the members of town departments, department heads, and workers to show up and meet some of the seniors who
just kind of give me a count, because I have to let Byron get a ballpark count of burgers. So it's the 25th at 11 of July, right at the pool.
So we
deliver too. We can deliver. So if you can't get out of your office, we can deliver here to town hall. Mary loves to drive it over. Just volunteered her. Or Bill will come over and pick up a tray. Bill's always there too, so he can always bring something back to you. But yes, please just let me know, because that will add a lot to the count, because you've been averaging like 25, 30 people.
Say 30 people.
It's been a good turnout lately for their meals. So,
and that's just the seniors. So other folks, we're catching up to you guys.
Yeah, we have to feed lifeguards too. So there's another 15 kids. So right.
But they make us desserts.
They make you your sides and your they do all that for you. They do.
Michael.
Yes.
I just wanted to bring up that you couldn't open the pool the other day because you had sick.
Yeah. So the first time ever, it's partially my fault, because I was looking at the weather and the fireworks weren't on the 4th of July. So I was toying, what am I going to do? And the weather was just looking so crappy. So I didn't make a permanent schedule, but I had a couple of days before I had gotten enough to run the pool for the 4th. And lo and behold, a couple got sick and it brought me down to 2. So we did not open yesterday, which was the second best day of the month. Not that we would have been tremendously busy, because I would imagine most people would go to the lake, seizing the opportunity to go elsewhere. So we did not open yesterday, which that's the first time that's happened. And it did thunder a little bit in the afternoon. So I do apologize for any inconvenience if people packed up and went and saw the gate closed. We tried to let people know.
Well, better safe than sorry.
Yep.
Right. I was not going to put 2 kids on.
No, that's
just not. 3 would have been fine, but 2 it's just not really fair. So that's all I really have.
Down under action needed C, board to discuss townwide celebration. I only stuck that on to make sure everything is going smoothly. I think everything is going smoothly. Mike is providing with the rec department the grill for the grilling, the water, the plates, napkins, and munchies, right?
Whatever we have left, we'll throw out.
Okay.
Yes, which is usually I think I bought chips last year. I think I did that. So I'll do that again.
Okay.
And I'll take care of that.
So thank you very much. And then you end up coordinating a whole bunch of stuff up there that day. So.
Yep. I was already talking to Byron. I think you have been nominated to drive the tractor with the ladybugs behind. I'll get the drawbar. I will get the drawbar for you.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Are we still doing
unfortunately?
Are we still doing the name the plow and that kind of thing as well?
I don't know. What do we got from high? We got to do something that we need to name, right?
Got lots of new stuff.
A whole bunch of plows.
We got a fleet now.
Okay.
Might have to go to naming trucks instead of plows now.
Well, it's going to be the same. One of the same.
Okay.
Right. And then there was conversation of, we had talked before about coming up with a plaque for the people that have done, and Don was leading that, but I guess I can get in touch with Don. He was going to write something and I can reach out to Don and then bring it through committee and then up to your approval to at least recognize the people, even though they don't want to be recognized.
Right. Right. So it's not going to get past the committee. You understand?
Well, I will read that part of the committee report and put that on your desk personally. Yes,
thank you.
The hand copy.
Right.
So I just wanted to keep that fresh.
Yes, thank you. Because
I'd like to do that too.
Did get a notice through that there's an open house over at the carving studio to kind of celebrate the achievement of the people who are making the benches.
That's right. Because did we determine where the benches were? Is that in progress? Like the benches, because they were going to put a bench somewhere up at the park.
Yes.
Is that already like
there
going
was going
forward?
To be 2, am I correct? One down by the pool and one where the V in the road is. You don't go down to the pool or you go up to the...
No, I don't think we were going to put 2 at Northwood, but bench. That rings a bell that maybe we did talk about 2.
We talked about 2. I don't think they could do 2.
But,
okay.
So my question is, are we already doing that? Is that moving forward on somebody else's end?
Because I do believe we made a contribution. I don't know if we've paid them for the contribution. This would have been...
I have an update on that. So.
Oh, okay. What's the update? Yeah.
Because of our letter of support, United Way funded the project. We don't have to.
Wow. Cool.
but it's going forward.
It's gonna be done. Like Friday is the unveiling of it.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that was.
Sent you an email on it?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
Anyway, resend it this Friday,
Yes.
and it's unveiling where?
The carving studio in West Rutland.
Okay.
It is Friday at 2:00.
Okay.
Sounds like a trip to the Maple Angus too.
Friday at 2 p.m.
Would we have
Carving
put it in
studio. Would you send that around again,
Put on
please,
it.
Bill?
Sorry?
Would you send it around to everybody?
Yes.
It would be good.
All the board members got the invite.
I thought I saw it. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't, but I can check it.
Okay.
Guess I should check my email a little more often.
Yeah, me
Me
too.
too.
I might have just, but I usually don't with Bill. So
All right.
that's all I got. Anybody else got anything?
Any questions from the select board of our rec director?
Bill, if you could draft a sign up form for soccer.
Okay.
And Kari and I are working on a payment system.
Oh,
We're looking into some payment systems to make life a little bit easier too. So
I mean,
for like when
credit
people sign up, yeah,
the Amazon thing?
no. The Amazon thing.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're trying to progress forward.
Okay.
Okay.
But that if there's families that can't afford,
All they have to do is reach out to me, and then that's never an
Okay.
issue.
okay.
Yeah, it's never an issue.
Yeah, good. Okay. Thanks, Mike. All right. Dave Sears, Town Road Commissioner. It says here that's what you are. So why don't you come up and talk to us?
You don't get excluded from this.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I brought props this week.
Hi, Prop.
So this is Chris Howe. He's our newest, latest, greatest highway worker.
Hey, welcome.
Hi, Chris.
Good.
Hi. Got pretty
Thanks for
sunburned
joining
today.
us. How long have you been on the job now?
This is my second week.
Second week, and you're still here. That's very
That's what I said. Well, at least he came back.
Today, though.
We tried to boil him today.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Almost worked.
Nice.
It's kind of like hazing.
Which is not legal.
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't say it was hazing. I said it's kind of like hazing.
Okay.
It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Last week or after the last meeting, we went out and did the MS4 inspections from that list that Andres gave us. I'm trying to get that scheduled with A1 to go out and clean a bunch of these structures. And I'm trying to put together a bunch of stuff. We got a bunch of culverts that need to be cleaned and stuff. So I'm going to put together like a whole day kind of thing, probably. East Pittsford Road is complete. We spent quite a bit of time up there doing edging and stuff like that. Flory Heights, Travis Terrace also. So we spent quite a bit of time in the last 2 weeks just doing that kind of stuff.
Quarterline Road.
Well, yeah, in a minute.
He's already done it.
Yeah. Well, okay. Quarterline Road.
It was graded last Friday, and we went up Monday this week, and we dosed it hard with mag chloride. So hopefully it stays together. Between Friday when it was graded and Monday when we got there, they'd already driven over to 100 miles an hour and started to make some potholes, but I can't fix that. So
right.
But we dosed it pretty good. So hopefully it.
Was that the stuff you were trying to get rid of?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we got 6,000 gallons of it. We got a little less than that now, about 5,000 gallons now.
Okay.
But it should kind of pull the moisture up out of the ground and kind of hold it together so it doesn't come apart so well. And we're just going to keep an eye on it. And if it starts to dry out a little bit, we're going to go dose it again.
This is still a class 4 road.
Still class 4 road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And the highway committee is going to be meeting
20th.
July 20th with you and going over some of it may be a moot point at this point if there's been some.
No, it's not going away.
Okay.
But we're meeting with the town of Clarendon Select Board, correct, Bill?
Correct.
Yeah. So hopefully we can come to some kind of understanding. I don't
think it's the towns. I don't think it's our town or that town. I think it's certain people that want it. And I've also gotten calls from people that said, please don't make that a speedway, because that's what happens is that
it almost can't be a speedway. I mean, I guess it could be if you were out there all by yourself, but two cars, there's very few places where two cars could pass each other without somebody pulling over and stopping. So,
yeah.
So on our side, it was class 4 when some of the developments occurred up on Quarterline Road. And I guess this is a request for the highway committee. Make sure you do your best to get comments from residents in Rutland town who live up there. If you want to do improvements that will increase either traffic flow or speeds, because the residences in Rutland town may not want that.
And there's only 3 driveways on the dirt portion of Quarterline that are town residents.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get any calls from them. So I had this tentatively scheduled for around May 1st. And it took until now to get it done for a variety of reasons, but it's just not an easy thing, and nobody really understands any of that. And I kind of get it, but I finally got a call from a town resident like 2 weeks ago. And it was just because where you come off of the asphalt onto the dirt, when they're coming off doing 60, they're tearing that all up. So, and it got to the point where it was so badly potholed that you couldn't really get around it, like driving like a normal person. So, but it's all straight now, and hopefully I don't hear Quarterline Road again until October.
July 20th.
Mercy.
July 20th.
July 20th. Well, I actually offered to him. I said, cash ruin, take it. You won't. And he said, absolutely not. And he hung up on me. No. I think he wanted to, though. Anyway.
He's usually a pretty decent guy.
No, he's fine. So Monday, I don't know if it was July, because it was July, or if it was Monday, or it was resident complaint day.
Oh.
The phone did not stop ringing for everything from brush to culverts to roads to paving to driveways. It was incredible. I just wanted to vent. And we began the post road sidewalk today.
Good.
And we'll be there for the next few weeks. So we do have a culvert. I might have to move up the list on Sugarwood Hill Road. It's about 55 feet of old galvanized culvert with a sinkhole right at a joint. So the band is rotted. We're trying to band-aid it together until I can get the sidewalk done, but every time it rains, the sinkhole reappears. So if the weather helps me a little bit, I'll do it after the sidewalk. If not, I might have to get away from there for a day or two and go do that.
Are you going to have to replace it? Was it in our budget? Was it one of the target ones?
No, but I've got money. I got like $50K in the culvert line.
Okay.
So it'll just be three pieces of culvert.
Okay. And it's a new budget year.
Okay. Got brand new money.
Okay. Don't go crazy.
And you get to keep the old money.
That's right. Highway does. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Which we actually tapped into a little bit this year because of all the paving and everything.
Yes.
Which was kind of the goal of getting that carryover down.
That's our auditors wanted us to do that. Yep. So we did.
So we went over by about 120, almost 129,000.
Okay. Because we had the carryover.
Right.
Okay. Other questions, select board members of our road commissioner?
I don't have a question, Mary, but I want to put this out there for Dave to think about for the next 15 days. And I think I mentioned it at our last meeting, or one other meeting, with regards to that short section of Class 4 road. My proposal would be, and I mentioned it to you folks before, that the town will grade that road twice a year, spring and fall, as it's available and we can get somebody up there to do it. That'll be our obligation to the folks in Rutland town that live there. And if the town of Clarendon wants to plow that, so the town of Clarendon residents that are complaining or resident is concerned, if they want to do the winter maintenance, and this is to Kurt's point where he said they actually drive up and turn around on the pavement and go back, they would be set up to maintain that in the winter. We wouldn't upgrade it to a class 4 road or a class 3. It would still be class 4, but it would get plowed and some sand put on it. They're set up to do dirt roads, and Rutland town isn't. We don't put up a lot of sand, and we don't, Dave would have to go out of his way to take care of that for ice and stuff. So that would be my proposal that we make to Clarendon when they show up. And I would like to see the road probably stay as a class 4 road. If we get enough demand from town residents to upgrade that to a class 3 and do all of what needs to be done, which would include finding the right of way, get it surveyed. It's probably going to have to be widened, ditched, culverts, new base. So it'll be in a very expensive short section of road. So, but I think the short term, or may even be permanent, is Clarendon takes care of winter maintenance and we'll take care of the summer maintenance. But I just want to put that out to you, Dave, to think about. Thanks.
Okay, please, if you do that, check with the League of Cities and Towns to make sure that is something that both towns will be covered for. And make sure you hear from the Rutland town residents who live up there that's what they want. So I appreciate your offer, but let's hear from them.
I'm pretty sure we have a signed class 4 winter maintenance policy already in place.
We do,
which says the road will be plowed when we get to it.
Right.
So that's really not an issue. We have the policy and we've been following it.
I don't really know that the winter stuff is the problem there. In my just over a year here, most of the complaints are about the road conditions during the summer with the washboarding and the potholes and that kind of thing. And we don't have a grader. I've run a grader before and I am absolutely horrible on it because I haven't done it enough. We don't have anybody else that has any experience on them. So I'm kind of at the mercy of contractors, and May and October, they're all booked up and booking up. So it's hard to get anybody.
It's not enough road for them
and
to
it's not
step
really
around and come
so
do.
My idea, and I'll give you this to think about, Joe.
Okay.
Is Clarendon already does however many miles of it that they do. They take really good care of it. We have plenty of liquid. I don't mind spraying and whatever. So maybe work out something where it's just a tick over 3/4 of a mile from the asphalt to the Clarendon line. When they come up and grade in the spring, just grade right to the asphalt, and we'll pay them for it. We'll spray it, whatever. We'll work something out. Yeah. But I think that's really the biggest issue there is the summer.
And then we can get West Rutland to come over to the asphalt on Boardman Hill,
right?
And we don't have to worry about it.
Yep. And I've talked to Sean over there, and he's semi agreed to it, but not. In theory, he has. So I think that could be worked out also. But I think
check with our residents, and check with the league to make sure that we're okay doing this.
Mendon already plows our roads. So it's something that we already do.
Please make sure we find ourselves doing things and then, oh damn, we should have checked with the league because now we've got an issue. So please just make sure.
It's a phone call. That's easy.
Yeah. And our residents.
The one complaint, Mary, that I've got called was from the Clarendon resident, and she was very specific about the winter maintenance and not being able to get to her job at the hospital because she likes to go that way rather than the other way on the Quarterline Road because she lives in Clarendon. So that's why I brought up the winter maintenance, because that's the only phone call that I've had. So, but I think maybe we can get
She calls me the day before every storm and asks me the same thing. And she's never called me back the day after the storm and said I couldn't get to work.
Right.
Yeah.
But maybe, hopefully we'll have a good meeting in 2 weeks and we'll get it resolved.
Right.
People knew when they were buying property up there, they knew or should have known what the state of the roads were. So, okay. I'm back to, I don't want to forget what Rutland town residents want. We've heard a lot about what Clarendon wants. Let's keep in mind, we got to know what Rutland wants. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Anything else for Dave?
How about Chris? Come on. Somebody give him from a meatball. No.
You guys,
All right.
did he yell
Chris Howe?
Yeah.
You do know, so you're Chris Howe.
I am.
Okay. So there was a lawyer.
Yeah, he's in Fairhaven.
Yeah.
Also, your grandson-in-law married me and my wife.
Oh, okay.
Andy.
Excellent. All right. He's a fine young man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
One of my best friends.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Well, welcome again. Thank you.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Yeah. Okay. Somebody said, is JP back on? Yes. Okay, JP, we kind of skipped over you. Do you have any report for us? Health officer, public safety building, second constable. We do have the contracts to sign later, so we'll get to that one after we talk with Kevin. But on the other two.
No, I don't have anything to report on either of those fronts. I was just on board to see where you were with the contract.
Okay, well, they're actually sitting here on my desk, and we're going to later go into executive session to hear a little discussion with our town attorney on this and another matter. And then, of course, we would be coming out of executive session to take any action on the contract. So that's the plan. Okay, sounds thanks, good. JP.
Thank you.
Marcia,
can I make a
yes.
comment, Mary? Sure. I want to thank JP for being out working yesterday on a holiday. Those of us that live on Grove Street really like to see that white pickup out there. It does make things a little better. So thank you, JP.
Well, thank you, Joey. But the chief and the deputy chief were also on duty yesterday.
Well, I'll thank them too, but I only saw you.
Yeah, and I made him strawberry shortcake and sent it over.
Oh,
thank you so much.
What's this business?
But you'll get it. I tried to call you once, and I thought, well,
okay. Marcia,
I am making some
Minister's office.
So I'm calling you. You can't eat that stuff. You hate strawberries,
Marcia,
but you give me the evil eye.
I'm here. I'm just waiting for the conversation to end here.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
We finished up all the real estate assessment today. Got all the new sheds, garages, additions, swimming pools, everything into the CAMA system. And Gail is going to be here for the rest of the week. She has already identified 30 new accounts in Rutland Town.
Wow.
And we are going to be downloading the G&K assessment module into NIMRIC on Monday. And then hopefully either Wednesday or Thursday of next week, we hope to lodge the grand list, set the date for grievance hearings. So, and we're actually a little bit ahead of last year, believe it or not.
Yeah, good.
So we're working with CAI to finally get the lister cards going. CAI is going to work with NIMRIC. NIMRIC is actually building a bridge so that every year CAI can just link into that bridge and update all the lister cards.
Okay.
Yep. So, and that's about it. I'm very hopeful that there's going to be a significant increase in the business personal property. The real estate, there should be looking pretty good as well, but we won't know until we actually lodge the grand list and see where we are.
Okay, thanks. So we're well on track for setting the tax rate. We finished our fiscal year and we're in our new fiscal year.
Right.
So I guess we'll be trying to find a date sometime this month to bring the select board together to set the tax rate. I'm looking at Kari right now. So, okay. And Kari's nodding yes. All right, good. Any questions for Marcia? Okay, very quiet in the room now, Marcia.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening.
You too. All right, Chris Clark, Town Fire Chief. Not? Okay. Kari Clark, Town Clerk and Treasurer. I don't. Good evening.
Right. Well, I don't really have anything now that you said that the fiscal year is over. That's what I was going to say.
Oh, but people probably figured that out anyway.
Yeah. So we're in a new fiscal year. You know, I did have a question on here about that. Did you, as a select board, ever come to a decision and make about the money being rolled over into the next fiscal year? Remember, the auditor told us that we had to do that by the end of the fiscal year so that we don't sweep over certain monies that you didn't want swept over into the next year.
Okay, well, highway rolls over anyway. What in particular are you mentioning?
Well, let's think about this. It was
the Cortina money.
It was all that money.
That was set up separately, I believe. That's what I had been told by the previous administration.
Previous administration meaning?
The chair before me.
No.
Okay. So,
I mean, we have that money, which is designated for the overtime, but it shows as income on the revenue side of the police department.
Right.
And the auditor will probably see that as such too. I keep track of it differently as far as the overtime, but the money is still in there. It needs to be designated not to roll over.
Okay, so how about a motion right now?
Go for it.
Okay. So I think that's the only account that we would be concerned about.
I think so.
Okay. So I almost think there was, well, anyway, I'll entertain a motion to have the money, the payments made by the Cortina toward our policing services not roll over, which would put them in the capital construction fund, but instead be retained in a separate account for the purposes of paying for policing services down there.
So move.
Motion's made. Is there a second?
Second.
Somebody else get
Matt seconded. Okay. Kurt was chewing something. I don't know. He hit the candy drawer pretty hard today.
I want somebody else to get in on the action.
Any discussion? Motion's made and seconded. Joe?
Yeah, Mary. So I don't. We're saying that money will not be swept into the capital improvement fund, but won't it be not necessarily you're rolled over to the next fiscal year that they can use it? Yeah, aren't we rolling it over into the next year? I don't quite understand the motion and what we're doing here, because we want that money to continue to be available to our police department for their additional patrols, and we don't want it to be lost. So we want to make sure the motion is proper, that we would be, it's in a separate account. It's not tax dollars. It is a separate income account. And therefore, is it it wouldn't be subject to the fiscal year criteria of a budget, because that's money paid for service. So I want to make sure if we're going to take some action tonight, we don't shoot ourselves in the foot here.
I think I was thinking the same as you are. And was that the understanding of Sharon and Kurt and Matt?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. The money goes into, remains in that special account, which I had understood we had already set up, and is for the purpose of paying for policing services down on the south end of town. And we will just continue to use that money for overtime payments to our police officers who are down there. So with that clarification, I think we all good on what we're requesting. Joe?
Yeah, except that we haven't gotten May and June from down south of the city. Am I correct?
No, we received June.
We did.
We received June just last week. I gave Ted the update for Cortina.
Yes.
At a smaller amount. Were you aware of that?
No.
Okay. It came in as 21,000 instead of 22,500, which is their normal amount.
The 22,500 is the agreed upon amount. Okay.
They came in with a $21,000 check. That's the Cortina. They also, as long as we're talking about this, they're on that schedule. I do believe that they are paying up a month in advance.
They had been. Well,
but they are now kind of behind that.
Yes.
They just came in with June, and they're going to need to come in with July if they're doing it ahead of time.
Okay. That's what, see, I checked when you were on vacation. Yeah. I checked with Susan. We got a printout. We sent it on, I think I sent it to the select board so they would know where our payments were. And so no payment yet for July.
No. Today, Days In came in and gave us the check for June, and that's what he's been doing.
That's right, because he does the actual person count.
That's right.
And pays after the month closes.
That's right.
So they're fine. So and just to be clear, the money that we're talking about being kept in the separate account would be Days In as well as Cortina, because it's all for policing services at the south end of town.
But just also to be clear, it's not in a separate checking account. Right. It's in our checking account, and
you account for it separately. You track it separately, but it's not a separate. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we need to. Yeah. Back to you, Joe.
Yeah. Well, that's my point. Did we make the motion right? Because I do believe we want to be able to roll that money over into the next fiscal year and not lose it. And I want to make sure that the wording is right of that. And I think the intent of the board and the motion was to be doing that, but did we word that right?
Well, why don't you go ahead and make a motion that will cover that, and then we'll substitute it for Sharon's motion.
So my motion would be that we would roll the special income from Cortina and Days In, allow that money to be rolled over into the next fiscal year for use for direct patrols by our police services.
Okay. Just a second. We'll see if Sharon, is that agreeable substitution for you?
I want to know what they think. They're the people that
next year, or we're going to go beyond.
This is I think Joe meant roll into this present fiscal year. And I don't know what's going to happen. And we're, just into this.
We can only go 1 year at a time, because we don't know what's going to happen next week with that.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Okay. So acceptable amendment, Sharon, to yours?
Yeah, as long as they're happy with it.
Okay. And whoever seconded, I think it was Matt. Did you second this one, Kurt?
No, Matt did.
Matt, are you okay with the amended motion?
Yes.
And have we met Kari's request? Is that what she was looking for?
Yeah, I'm looking to use the funds in this new fiscal year.
Okay.
And not have it go into the capital improvements.
Okay.
So
you've heard the amended motion. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. It's unanimous. Good. Thank you.
Two quick things. Is there a personnel and finance committee meeting soon? And if not, can we get that on the calendar soon?
We can. Matt and I think Matt's got to do some scheduling around where he is. So, and I'm back from my 4-day vacation in Maine, so I'm good. So Matt, let's see when we can set up a personnel and I do know we need one. Personnel committee meeting, and what's the other?
The personnel
finance. Right. Okay.
Portion of it. That would be great. And then one very quick last thing that I just thought of. So the consolidated communications for the entire town is getting revamped, and we're very happy about that. The telephones will probably work after that, thank God, which a lot of people will be happy about. Chris and I he was coding his bills, and for this budget and it's probably in many departments, for this one that was approved by voters that we're going into the current year, he has a cable and he has a telephone line. Mm-hmm. And kind of a simple question. He will only be using one of those lines because he doesn't have cable anymore. Mm-hmm. How do we handle that? Because the voters voted technically on both of those lines. Does he just use one line and overextend one line and just have the other one kind of sitting there?
This may be more of an auditor question. The voters approve the whole budget.
Right.
Okay. So changes within departments, as long as the department stays within budget, I think our practice has been that's okay.
Okay.
And this just makes sense because if it's a communications line in the future, maybe instead of a separate cable.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. We just wanted to bring it before before he just did whatever on the bills. And he didn't want to do that.
But whatever you do, be consistent with other departments.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't have anything really at this point that's different. We'll just be kind of waiting to hear when we're going to meet for the tax rate.
Okay. What do you need something from us? Are we ready to meet to set the tax rate?
I don't think so, because Marcia has to do her thing first.
Marcia has to lodge the grand list, and then there's some information that has to be calculated.
Yeah. And I don't know if we have to wait I don't know that world very well.
Okay.
Like grievances and stuff like that. I really have no idea if that's even part of it.
So if you and Marcia would sort of coordinate that piece and then let us know when, you can print the page that tells us your calculations of the tax rate and what we need to raise, and then we'll set a meeting.
We did get the education rate on Friday of last.
We did get it.
We did get it.
Okay.
So just to kind of to put it out there, the homestead rate did not change very much at all, at all.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the non-homestead kind of had a little difference in it. Okay. Not that significant, but still, I think that sets the tone for our taxes. Yes. It really does.
That's the major part of what we
the
raise
major
money
part.
For. Mm-hmm. Good.
So there's not a big fluctuation in that. So I'm hopeful that there won't be a big fluctuation in our taxes.
Good. Okay. All right. Part of the discussion will be when, and this is something for all of us to think about, when do we borrow the money for our public safety building, knowing we have all of the ARPA funds that we can use up first. Will that hit in this fiscal year so that we have to start raising money for that?
I don't know, because have we discussed what we're doing? Are we going to bond or are we going to bank?
We haven't discussed that because we haven't actually signed the contract, which is what we hope to be doing tonight. But that will be the next consideration moving forward on borrowing and which way we go to borrow.
Yeah.
So, and when we need to start borrowing, and we did ask Mr. Shappy to work with us so that we would know when we had to actually, I think the big borrowing will be for the building, the ordering the steel building and around that. So,
okay.
It's a moving target.
It is.
So just to alert select board members, we need to keep that in mind. And we only have probably a couple of weeks before we set the tax rate, and that should be part of it.
Yeah.
We do have, Mary, we do have almost $3 million, or will have, between the funds that we have appropriated for this to get started. So we might be probably budget time or after the first of the year before we'd have to figure out when we need that, and then when the payback schedule would start. That will be the issue. So I guess it's going to be kind of hard to figure out. We might have to figure something in November, December. That would be my guess.
Well, if we're raising taxes for this fiscal
payment
year, and any payment comes in, even if it's in like May, and we don't have the money, we should have borrowed the money in anticipation of that payment. That's all I'm saying. So we've got ARPA money. We've got close to 3 million, as you say, to work with.
And I think that'll get us probably a fair amount of, what I'm saying is we may not have to borrow the money until this time or a little earlier next year. So it'll be budget time this year when we're going to have to know how much we're going to borrow, and then when we do it and when the payments start, because they will probably be part of next year's taxes and not this year's taxes, would be my guess.
Well,
I don't know how you would figure that in if we don't know what the payment's going to be.
Well, we may also want to lock in an interest rate and a loan now.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just that the sooner we borrow it, the sooner we're going to have to start paying it back.
Unless we do something, we get the commitment and then we don't actually draw any money until sometime in the future.
Right. That would be,
yeah. So,
okay.
All of those things keep in mind because we're coming up on that. Okay. Any questions of Kari, town clerk and treasurer? Okay. Thank you. All right. Thanks very much. Mike Delehanty, first constable.
Evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Not a ton to go over, just one thing, kind of a discussion to see what you guys think. Last Wednesday night, Officer Placus and I responded to a call at the Diamond Run Mall. 5 juveniles had broken in. They were all from the Burlington area. So, of course, Central Security had let us in, and it took us a little while to find them because once, obviously, we announced who we were, they ran from us. But we were able to track them down finally. My question is, let me back up. When we got outside and they were all issued the no trespass orders, we asked them how they got in. Because at this point, I'm like, I thought the place was pretty boarded up pretty well because I haven't been to a call there in a long time.
Yeah.
And so they're climbing trees. Any tree that's close to the building, they're climbing, getting up on the roof and finding a hatch to get in. So a couple of things. I don't know if we reach out to the owner to see if we can either have those trees removed or cut back. Because for the most part, that place is pretty secure.
Yeah.
Problem is, at this point, as I'm sure everybody knows, the damage has been done on the inside and the amount of glass. they're skateboarding. One of the kids had a skateboard on them. If it continues and is pitch black in there, someone's going to get severely hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't walk 2 feet in that place without stepping on glass. It's tough in there. So that's just kind of my thing. I don't know if we can reach out.
Local manager or a person who is semi-local, and we should be in touch with him. Do we have his? We haven't heard from him in a very long time, but the deal was that yes, they have a private security company. They enhance the security up there, but the call was not supposed to come to the town police department. And that looks, but still it did, and we need to deal with it. So can we get word to the manager?
There's another issue up there too, so I was going to talk about that one. So yeah, we can put all that together. Yep.
Okay. And so yes, we will, and coordinate with Bill to find out what information is. So trees are that close.
Apparently.
Yeah, they were small, but not.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Shimmy up on them.
Okay.
I think the kid was willing to tell me because he was headed back to Burlington anyway, so he didn't really care that I knew. So, but yeah,
probably the word's out on Facebook.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Well, so these kids are just adventure seekers, and they go to these abandoned buildings and properties and try to get in and see what's going on. But like I said, he had a skateboard on him, and like I said, you can't walk 2 feet in that place without stepping on something. Yeah. So that's my fear.
Also, sense of security. I know the state police have gone up there a few times too. Sense of security wants the state police to charge him with trespassing, and scale 1 to 10, it's not even a 0, based on everything else that's going on in Rutland County. The state's attorney's busy up.
Yeah.
Deal with an abandoned, junky piece of property that has no value.
Which is why we didn't want any part of it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
So their alternative is if Censor can't do it, they can contract with the sheriff.
And Dave does not have the guys to do it.
They got to figure out something. That's a condition of their Act 250 permit. So, yeah.
Well,
okay.
Either way. So no, that was it. That's all I wanted to bring up was the fact that, like I said, that's just my concern right now, that someone's just going to get severely hurt on the inside of that place.
Well, we should let the owner, manager, representative know as soon as possible. So work with Bill on that, if you would, please.
Will do. All right. Thank you guys very much.
Any questions for our first constable or comments?
No, just don't send him to the mission. We've thrown.
Send it back to Burlington.
We've thrown about 10 of them out.
All right. Ed Dumas, Town Police Chief.
So good evening.
Good evening.
So it looks like we had this last 2-week period. I was on vacation. The rest of the people had 42 calls for service, 23 traffic stops. So we had like 13 retail thefts, not all in the south end, because I want to say Big Lots and Home Depot are getting bothered by the retail thefts at this point.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any questions about that?
No, I got pushed out of the way by one of them that was booking. So I stuck my foot out and he fell on the ground and he called me a nasty name.
Policing action of your own.
Well, by God, if you're going to push me,
you betcha.
You know, I stuck my leg out and he went, that's over the van barrel. Then he called me, he used that C word, which is really like the worst thing you can say to me. The worst.
Way to go, Sherry.
I wrote a note on the back of my papers there. I just can't figure out which paper it was. For 2 other items I wanted to talk about. Oh, there it is. Thank you. Perfect. The other thing I gave you was this McGovern HQ. Yes. So Ted checked with the process of our Durango we ordered, and nothing's happened. The fact they got nothing from the factory. They don't even acknowledge the fact that we ordered the thing yet at this point in time.
This is our new cruiser.
So no, this is a different cruiser.
Could be potentially, maybe.
This could be potentially maybe a cruiser, because this one they have on the lot ready to go, and that's the price.
Okay.
The other one was at 41 and change, I believe.
And then which lot? Where?
Is this through the state bidding process?
This is where the city got their cars.
Okay.
So Ted talked to somebody in the city department. He goes, "What's the name of those people?" They had cruisers available, so he called them up. And they happen to have a Chevy Tahoe online.
Okay.
And that's the price. And they said they held it for us because I understand we have to work with the select board and ask them questions and get approval and all that stuff. So,
how does it compare with the state bid price?
I can find out. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if they do have a bid price. I can ask that question.
I don't know if there's a state bid price on Tahoe or not.
I don't know, but remember, we're departing from. We had a brief discussion. We were going to go in this route, but it was because we were close to the state bid price. We didn't go out to bid, and we didn't do all of that stuff. So
Ted got three.
Did he get 3 bids?
He got 3 prices on the Durango, I do believe, or at least 2.
Yeah, he did got 3. He got one from local, Springfield, and Stealth Burlington. Goss, I think it was. Those are the 3 bid prices.
How long ago was this? It's sounding
3-4 months. 3-4.
All right.
Say again, I didn't hear your question.
I was wondering how long ago it was, and I know we had this. Yeah, okay. We were going to use money from the initial payment from Cortina to put toward this, as I remember.
Right.
Because the money was available.
Initial, I thought was my understanding we were paying for the whole thing in one shot.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because the money was there from. They paid 2 years worth from the Cortina, and that was a chunk of money that.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So ordinarily, so what's your pleasure with this, folks? Was this in our packet or?
I brought it in today.
Okay. Well, then we've got 2 people who haven't seen the estimate. And how long is this good for? Because we have a police committee that probably ought to meet and take a quick look. And it's also
they're holding that for us right now.
Okay. So finance and personnel is also the same committee as police, right? Matt, you're on that with me, right?
That is true.
Okay. All right. So
I'm reluctant to take myself off mute because I think my shoulder's about to shoot me again. But is what you got in front of you a price for a vehicle that is comparable to the one that we already get the multiple bids on?
Yes. Yes, Matt.
So doesn't sound like there's a need to pursue additional bids if it's a comparable price and a comparable vehicle.
It's actually a little bigger.
It's a little bigger.
It's a little bigger technically, the Tahoe.
Yep.
So the price from McGovern Municipal is $44,758.25.
It's like $2,500 more or something, if I remember right.
It was like 41 or 42.
Around there.
I think it was under 42.
Yeah.
And this one's got a almost $800 spot lamp and a flasher in it. So there's $800.
It does say this estimate is for budgetary purposes and is not a guarantee of cost for services. Estimate is based upon current information from client about the project requirements. Actual costs may change once project elements are finalized.
That would be blue lights, sirens, all that stuff.
Okay. So how much more? And they usually come in with a separate package for that, don't you?
I think the last time we did it we had it done locally. It cost $5,000 just to have them do the work.
$5,000?
Just to put all the radios and stuff in.
Okay. All right. So this is for the vehicle, not for most of the add-ons.
Right.
All right. Questions, discussion.
So the other bid price was also just for the vehicle and not add-ons, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is to replace your cruiser?
Yes.
How's that holding up yours?
Just under 70,000.
Does this include any trade-in of that old vehicle?
No, we haven't discussed that yet. We could though.
Okay. We usually
Whatever we decide to do, I will sell the cruiser and forward all the money back to the town.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It usually goes into your equipment fund.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever we do, that's what we'll do with it.
Yeah. Do you want to take any action tonight? Do you want to look at this in 2 weeks? What's your pleasure? Do you want to have police look at it?
My thought is if it's a little bit bigger vehicle and it's $2,000 to $3,000 more, it's on the lot and we can get it, we might as well go with it.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to purchase this police vehicle from a governed municipal HQ at a cost of $44,758.25. Motion's made and seconded. Discussion.
I know it's not following our purchasing policy technically, but right now with how hard it is to get equipment, I think we just need to go for it.
That's right.
Well, I mean, you were right that we looked at prices and it's not far off from the prices we looked at before.
It's more vehicle technically if you look at them.
Yeah. Joe?
Happy.
Matt?
I'm good with it. Are we taking the money from the depreciation fund for the police? Their depreciation would pay for it, and then the sale of the other vehicle would just go back into that fund, same as we do with the fire trucks and stuff.
I think we're taking the money from the Cortina payment of the two previous a year and a half or 2 previous years. Remember, they made a large lump sum payment to us before they moved to the monthly payments. So that was what we, I believe, had discussed before. And we might have even voted on that, although I think we did.
Yeah, well, we voted to buy a vehicle with that money quite a while ago. Did that vehicle not get purchased at the time, and this will be the vehicle we're purchasing instead?
Joe, we put in to purchase. They were going to build it. Ted called in to find out where it was, and the factory hadn't even acknowledged that a bid had been put in yet for it, or a request to build a car.
Right. So the money we approved for you to buy a vehicle didn't get spent because they haven't even started yet. So now you've found another one and you can buy it. So I think we've already voted on this and they've already got the money.
Yeah, we've voted on where the money comes from, but this is a slightly higher amount of money. That's why there's a new motion, and it's from a different vendor.
It's a different vehicle.
Yeah, slightly bigger vehicle. Okay. So any further discussion? Motion's been made and seconded.
Is it your favorite color?
No, but
what color is it?
It's blue, some sort of dark blue.
That dark blue won't look too bad.
That is such a girl question.
Well, he's got to drive around in it all the time.
I know. Well, I once asked Byron what color his new highway truck was coming in, and boy, I learned my lesson. I don't ask those questions anymore.
You can ask me yellow.
Okay, fine.
Great.
Okay. If there's no further discussion, all in favor of the motion of purchasing the new police cruiser from the government municipal for $44,758.25 using money from the Cortina fund. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. The other thing here back.
Take care of it.
What's that?
Take good care of it.
I will. So the other thing is Deputy Chief Washburn reached out to the crime research group again, because the last time I did, I think it was 2016, maybe we had it.
Yeah.
And things have changed quite a bit since then. There was state funding to take care of it. I believe he sent you all an email about it. And so we're just asking if you want to do this study again.
Okay, that was like a $10,000 price tag on it, and it wasn't budgeted for.
Correct.
And that's something probably the police committee really ought to take a
Okay.
look at and
Yeah.
make a recommendation to the full board.
He just
So-
wanted me to bring it up to you, so and that's fine.
Just
And-
14 money.
Well, yes, but let's see what the study is and why. We yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay. Any questions of our police chief? Okay.
One other thing is the select board.
That would be
the
us.
constables and other members of the PD, Deputy Chief Washburn, Placus, Angie Shermanhorn, the two constables were fantastic. I was on vacation for 2 weeks. I got less than 5 phone calls from folks asking things for me. So I'm impressed. And the department will run flawlessly without me.
So maybe they should have the new cruiser and not you.
Maybe. I hope not, though. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thanks to all of the members of the police department and the constables for making it work. Okay. Bill Sweet, town administrator.
Good evening.
Hi, Bill.
No Kevin yet.
Okay.
Watching.
Okay.
Trying to watch. There we go. So few things to go over. A couple of things left in the packet. The application from Green Mountain Power to Act 250. They submitted the first one. They got the letter saying it was incomplete. They sent another letter. They got a response saying it was incomplete. In your packet is their third submission to Act 250.
Saying we're exempt from 250 because we're on the public service board.
So VHB wants to make sure you are okay with them forwarding that. I'm not really sure like why. I mean, it's obviously an issue
raised before,
but
yeah. 250 and section 248, or one's public service board or public service board energy projects, the other is everything else. Mm-hmm. And they kind of divvy up jurisdiction, and they try not to step on each other's permitting toes. Mm-hmm. So I have no problem with them attempting to send this in saying we're exempt from 250, we're subject to section 248.
Okay.
But that's what is feelings of the rest of the select board.
Mostly, how much is this holding up their project? Well, let's get this thing rolling.
Well, this is something they should have foreseen. So, yeah, it's not that we raised it. We wanted to make sure that anything that happened on our land wasn't in violation of our permit. So however they explain it is fine with us.
Okay.
Okay. So hearing no opposition will tell GMP there's no objection.
Yes. I'll let them know they can move on.
All right.
E in your packet is a water connection request from Ranberry Associates. Dave Nelson.
Well.
This is going to be a 2-part thing, but this is part 1.
Okay.
So he does have a sewer connection for that building already.
Okay.
A sewer connection request for that building. We got to talk about that. But this is for the water connection.
This is actually one of the businesses we heard from down there when we were first talking about putting the water line down.
Yes.
We were hoping they would hook on, and they I think Dave Nelson also owns other property down there.
He does.
Yes. So we
move to approve.
Motion's been made to approve the sewer allocation.
Second.
And seconded. Discussion. I gotta find it. Where is it?
It's water, is it, Mary? Water or sewer?
Water.
Water.
Water. Okay. To make sure the motion reflects water. I thought I heard sewer in there.
You did.
Not by me.
But
Sewer-
the motion
sewer
right
the other
now
one.
is for water
This one's for water.
hookup.
Something else for sewer. Oh, ouch.
All right, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Aye. I think, Matt, did you say aye?
I did.
Okay, thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Part two.
Part two is he was granted a sewer connection, a sewer discharge allocation, June of 2021. He has been working to get things in line to get it installed, but has not yet been able to do so. His allocation technically expires after 1 year unless the board agrees that he's made a good faith effort, which after discussing with him, he has, to try and make the connection. He says he should be able to do it within the next year with all the projects going together. He has 2 properties he's going to do, which he has other approvals for. So his original allocation from June of 2021 is technically expired.
Mm-hmm.
But if the board would allow it, you can vote to give him a year extension from now.
We extend the sewer allocation for another year.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion. Finding that there was a good faith effort made, I suppose. Yes.
He's a pretty decent fellow.
Yeah, he is. Well, he was on a subcommittee for the town when we were, what were we working on?
For the road, Mary.
Yeah,
Stay tuned for
yeah.
the next update.
He was very okay. So all in favor of the motion to extend the sewer hookup and allocation, please say aye.
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 Aye. And I think Matt's box lit up, so I'm guessing he said aye too. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Dave had stopped in actually the day after our last board meeting. And I said, isn't it great that you happened to stop in? Because we're just talking about reviving the service road project. He's like, okay. He's like, that's good to hear, because he is planning right now to install solar panels and a building right through where that road would go.
Oh.
So the timing was rather fortuitous.
Yeah. Okay.
So I have told him that we are again bringing that up, and he is very happy to hear that. But hearing that the project had not gone anywhere, he was making other plans for that property. So
okay,
it's important that we probably keep him in the loop if we intend to try and do this, because if he does what he was planning to do, the road would not be able to go in. So.
Yeah. Okay.
So I will let him know about those 2 things, and that should help.
Yes.
I had reached out a few weeks ago to, it was Ed Carr from I forget what the company was he worked for, and it was Michael Sternberg, were the 2 people from the Diamond Run Mall.
Okay.
I do still have their contact information. I had received a request from some people at the Spartan Arena prior to the high school graduation that says this parking lot has a lot of paraphernalia and other things in there, and asked if they could get it cleaned up ahead of the people that were coming in, expected I'd reach out to them. They did not get back to me to say if they did or did not, but I did make that request to have them do that. I also found out, someone else sent me a message the other day that there's some sinkholes that are starting to form in parts of the parking lot up there. So I don't know what we can do much about that, because that's private. But
that's their problem.
That's right.
It is, but it could lead to some bigger issues. But yeah, so there's a couple of things. So we can address that. We can certainly address the tree.
I remember when they were somewhat unresponsive on the local agent level, we ended up writing to, didn't we do that? Didn't we write to the principal owner, and we got
and that's how that's
in the, let's just keep it at
it
our
was
level.
Joe Anthony.
Yes.
We got a hold of him.
Yes.
But Ed and Michael are fairly responsive. It seems like Michael still is
very much
part of it.
Okay.
There was the talk about the concrete barricades, which never really went anywhere. So with I can work with Mike Delehanty on the issue with the trees, and we can talk about that. What else? Is there anything else we want to
Well, isn't it about time we invite them in to see what their plans are?
Great idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yes.
Oh no, we're going to do it in a couple months. We'll be on
3 months. You're going to
a couple months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yiddish is gay cocking off of yum.
We will take care of that. I spent a little time on Monday talking with the Regional Planning Commission. There is an electric vehicle charging station grant application which is going to become available tomorrow. And we do qualify. We can apply for multiple locations. The new public safety building does have electric vehicle charging stations planned. We also talked about them here. We could apply for both locations and potentially fully fund the installation at both locations. The grant could also be used because Green Mountain Power is administering the grant to upgrade the service to the building to allow that to happen, which was something we talked about as part of the downstairs remodel anyway, and potentially some of the infrastructure distribution upgrades that would be necessary to make that happen also. So the person at the Planning Commission is very willing to help us apply for it. Is that something we would like to do?
We don't have any room for a public charging station at the new facility.
They're in the plans. Ed Clark was here today and he says there's 2 stations in the plans.
What? Yeah, what?
I never saw those.
I never saw
I didn't either. And I had the same question. I mean, because parking would be fairly tight.
Ed was here this morning. I was talking about it. He says, yeah, there's a 2 station charging station planned for the new building.
Is that intended for the public, or is that in case the fleet ends up using it in the future?
It was on the site plans. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know how they got there. I just saw that they are there.
Was that for Ed's Prius?
No. had mentioned it, something about if we went with an electric cruiser, there's grants out there.
Yeah.
That's why I think he mentioned it. I didn't pay much attention to it. I'm sorry.
Okay, so but that raises for downstairs as well. It's the same architect for both. Mm-hmm. So that would be first a question for him: why up at the new proposed public safety building were they put in there? And to JP's question, do we have enough parking if those are dedicated to recharging areas? And then for downstairs, because he's working on sketching, make sure he's aware, and is this beneficial? Would this be something that fits in well with what we want to do down there? Mm-hmm. So that would be, with those 2 caveats, I think we could maybe move forward with seeing if we can get the grants. What's our share?
That's going to be part of the application tomorrow. So that was a detail that we haven't seen yet, but it won't be it's going to be obviously 2 weeks before we meet again. So that application window won't be that short. So it shouldn't be that short.
Shouldn't be. Okay. But other feelings? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not opposed to sticking 1 or 2 over here or something.
Yeah.
The helping with the distribution upgrade was a very attractive part of that.
Yes.
That's kind of what
for this bill. Yeah.
And the other part of that is that they would likely go down by the generator, and in 2 or 3 years, that's kind of the time frame we talked about when we would end up probably repaving the parking lot. Okay. And if we put the conduit underground and trench the driveway now to do that, then when we repave it, it'll be nice and clean, and we'll have to dig it up to do that. So I'll find out tomorrow what that's going to involve, and by next meeting we should have more information.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
You're welcome. I got a call from Stantec. Oscar Garcia has moved on from Stantec and is no longer with them. So we'll have a new person who is fully aware, but they wanted to just let us know that Oscar is no longer with their company. He's moved on to a new career. The request from Howard, the water sewer ordinance.
Yeah, that's not anything we can deal with in a
no. There's a lot to that ordinance. Those 2 ordinances, we actually have 3 online, and one of them's, I think, duplicative. It actually is inclusive of the other one. So it's going to be good to kind of take a step back and something along the lines of like when we talked about culverts, we specified like very specific things that ordinance has for sewer discharge lines. Like this is what you shall have. And it says, if there's any adjustments, I'm the one that's got to make the decision on approving that. I'm not qualified to make that decision. So there's some things we need to look at for that. And if we even can do that anymore, because the state does wastewater permitting, is that even part of what we don't even do that anymore? There's actually there's buried in that language actually is another permit that we require that we aren't doing anything with. So it is it's good that it came up. It absolutely is a problem over there. It seems like there's a few that are tied into that. We can discuss how we want to try and address it, but the fallout is that when the Flory Heights system, there's 25 people, that water, all that discharge goes through the pump station over here, is calculated, and that's how they're billed. So if they're pumping stormwater, rainwater down that system, it's increasing everybody's bill. Everybody's paying for it. So that doesn't seem like a very good idea. So, yeah. So
water sewer committee.
Yep.
Probably
needs to look at that.
Should have a meeting. And I'd also be curious too about the two projects that we were looking at forgivable loans for. One is the 3-acre engineering for 3-acre parcels, and the other is the town-wide study of our water systems.
Yeah, Robert Clark last has said that there was the details really were not available.
Yeah,
so
but how long ago was that?
A little while.
So I think an update on that too.
Busy. Like December when I got him that.
I get my septic system done.
Yeah. We'll see. And I believe Kevin's on. So I think that's probably him.
All right.
That's everything I have.
Okay. So wait, we've got one other. Do we have any committee meetings?
Nope.
Okay. Takes care of that. We'll skip over the select board projects. We have enough on our plate. Town grand juror nomination. Matt Getty.
Yes. I would like to nominate Darren Rowley to be the town grand juror.
Motion's made to nominate Darren Rowley for town grand juror.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Who is she, Matt?
Darren is, among other things, married to Jimmy Blackus, but more importantly, she is a assistant state's attorney. Mary and I have had some back and forth about this job and whether it actually exists anymore, but to the extent that there are any remnants of it left in the statute, which are hard to find, it is, I think, intended to be a municipal prosecutor. So she is the person for that job.
And she's willing to do it, right?
She is willing to do it.
Okay.
That was going to be my question. Does she know that she's being nominated for this?
Yes, she does.
Okay.
Hi, Barbara.
All in favor of the motion to nominate Darren or appoint Darren Rowley as town grand juror, please say aye.
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 Matt, aye from Joey. So it's unanimous. Good. Thank you. Who would like to deliver the happy news? Matt, do you want to do that?
I will do that right now.
Thank you. And congratulate her for us. Okay. So let me just check around. We're about to go into executive session. We have our town attorney on the line. And we're going to do two things. We're going to review it's contract discussions and a update on pending litigation. Is there anything else that we should consider before? And I'd like to include Chief Dumas, at least on the pending litigation matter. Is there any other things that we need to do, or when we come out, this will be it? Okay.
That
All right.
would be nice.
So Motion. Executive session from somebody, please.
Motion we move into executive session.
Okay.
Second.
Second.
Aye.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. So we're in executive session. Okay. We're back from executive session after having spoken with our town attorney. And are there any motions?
Yes, I would like to move that we authorize our chairperson, Mary Ashcroft, to sign the contract between the town of Rutland and VMS Construction for the construction of the new public safety building. Upon confirmation from our attorney that all conditions and agreed upon conditions have been met.
That the document that I'm signing is the one that Kevin made the changes to,
right, that Kevin approved it, right. That everything is what he said, seeing as though some of this is being done virtually. Yep.
Okay.
And I do believe there is the stipulation or the condition of the 10 years. I think he called it the time of repose, which is how long the contractor is responsible for the building.
And we agree to the 10 years.
And we have agreed to it. Yep.
Okay. All right. So motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Kurt seconding. Any discussion?
I think we've beat this one around pretty good. Did a good job.
Lordy. Okay.
I think that,
go ahead.
No, I just said, I think in the best interest of the town, we take very diligent effort to make sure we get ourselves as well protected and well represented as we can. And we've done okay.
Okay. Thank you. So any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Aye. Matt?
Aye.
Okay. Did you vote? Yeah. And aye from Kurt. So I will note that Sharon Russell left partway through our executive session as she was not feeling well. So she's not voting on this.
Is that resolved? Because there was a tabled motion. Does that resolve?
Yeah, because we took it. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So we've approved the contract. What we request Bill to do is scan this to Kevin as it is. I know it's going to be a pain to do, but
okay.
We absolutely need to make sure this is what
the one
he reviewed and agreed to, because we were stumbling just a little bit as we were reviewing it. So, and then let me know. I'll come over and sign it once he's said okay, because I'm in town tomorrow.
Not even there to see it, is he?
He'll get. I mean, he.
Can I get travel expenses to go bring it to him?
No. Any further matters to come before the board tonight?
Move to adjourn.
Motion's been made to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
At second, so does Joe. All
third, fourth.
All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
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 Thank
Good
you
night,
all
all.
very much.
Have a good night.